Hello and welcome to Culture Shark, a live stream about all things pop culture. I'm Final Monkey,
And I'm Caleb.
and today we are continuing looking at the movies of Keanu Reeves. Today is Constantine.
Yes, which is this is a film you had not seen, right?
I had not seen this before. I am familiar with the character, but I just never saw this movie.
Gotcha.
But before we get to that, let's do a check in. We haven't done one of these in a while, and see what we've been up to pop culture wise. Caleb, how
Yeah.
about you? Anything you've been
Yeah.
checking out lately?
So really it's been major D&D vibes. Um at this point I think I'm playing in so I'm playing in 3 and I'm running 1. So that's a total of 4 games that I'm playing D&D. Uh some of them are monthly, some bi-weekly, and then one of them's weekly. Um, and so it's been a lot of D&D, mainly your Forgotten Realms, regular 5e D&D and one Star Wars. And then uh, Cameron and I, we both just finished up Metroid Prime 2. So later on tonight or maybe tomorrow, Cameron and I will be recording that episode for the Metroid Crusade. So it's mainly just been your normal life, getting the grind done at work, and then I'll write stuff for D&D. It's a nice creative outlet, and um, playing through Metroid because we're at one point I thought we were behind on the Metroid Crusade, and then we get to June, the Switch 2 comes out, and we still don't have a release date for Prime 4, so I think we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a Christmas release or what. I don't know. Switch to schedule's been kind of weird.
Yeah.
Although the presentation for the new Donkey Kong game was quite impressive, so I think they're counting
Oh,
on that
yeah.
carrying the summer, and then Metroid
Yeah.
will be the Christmas game.
So it's kind of as far as the Switch 2 goes, it's kind of it's a catch-22. Because I know what they're doing. Because right now, no, there's not a whole lot of Nintendo exclusives for Switch 2. It's basically just Mario Kart and that one other thing that shouldn't even cost money. um, so I know what they're doing. They don't want to compete with themselves, because the people who are going to buy, you know, these games ideally are going to want to play all of them at some point. And so I can see the staggering. You get your Mario Kart World, then you've got your Donkey Kong coming up, and then I think the 3 other major releases that come to mind for this year are Metroid, Kirby Air Riders, and um, Age of Imprisonment. So I definitely understand the the want to stagger those releases, but unfortunately, you run into the issue that is um, people complaining that your console has no games.
Well, and I've heard, I don't know how true this is, but I've also heard that third-party games on the Switch 2 are not selling at all. Maybe the price
it's
issue and other stuff, and
I think it mainly has to do with the whole game card thing because um, Cyberpunk 2077 is the only third-party game that's not on one of those game key card things,
yeah,
and it has sold extremely well. So
yeah.
I think it is 100% the key card thing. Would I would wager that we're not going to be seeing that much longer. Especially with the only 2 games on the Switch 2 that are selling being Mario Kart and Cyberpunk, which do not have the key card thing.
There you go.
Um, But yeah, so that's kind of what I've been doing. We actually don't have a Switch 2 yet. We're kind of banking on like maybe a cool bundle with Metroid Prime 4. But other than that, what about yourself? You've been reading stuff. You've been sending stuff about Transformers a lot.
Yeah, I actually I've done something to my back. I have no idea what. It's just the joys of, I had a birthday last week. I'm in my mid 40s, and this is the type of thing that happens when you're mid 40s. Also, your back just goes, yeah, I'm done for now. Um, so I haven't really felt like doing much. So uh, reading wise, I read uh, Predator versus Wolverine, or maybe it's Wolverine versus Predator. It's either or one of those. Um, I'd say it was a pretty solid book. I wouldn't say
Okay.
it's like, must read, but it's what you expect.
Yeah, I was
Predator
wondering
versus
because
Wolverine.
I was wondering because I read that as a kid and I was like, oh, this is so cool, and I'm like, is that like a is it like me being an edgy kid being like, yeah, it's so cool? But yeah, I mean, I'm sure
I mean, this is
it's.
a brand new story that just came out last year. So
I'm
this is a
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Batman versus Spawn.
yeah, or Batman versus Predator or something. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. So this is basically Wolverine has been fighting this Predator off and on for 100 years, like since the when he was very young, had just left uh, his home in the late 1800s. He fights him again during his Weapon X missions. He fights him again in Japan, and then he fights him again briefly with the X Men. That part was cool when all the X Men showed up. Um,
I
and
would
then,
imagine that that's like the selling point is
yeah,
like you can. Because another thing that was that confused me as I was saying what I was just saying, there was a superpower beatdown. Do you remember those?
hmm,
That was Wolverine versus Predator, and
gotcha.
and yeah, it's cool. Um, but like you almost want to see the Predator in like maybe not the Marvel universe as a whole, but like at least the X-Men mythos.
Yeah, so they've done a series, these main series. I also picked up Black Panther versus Predator. I haven't read that one yet. So I don't know how that one will be different. Um, so uh, yeah. So what else? I'm reading Superman Year One by Frank Miller. I haven't
Mhm.
finished that just yet, but it's very interesting. A little bit different take on Superman, but maybe we'll talk about that next month.
Yeah,
I don't want to get too much into that. It is the art's by John Romita Jr. So pretty cool. Uh, Watching wise, I watched Slapshot. Is that the name of the movie? Slapshot, yeah, with
is that
Paul
a
Newman, old 1970s movie, sports movie. Um, Basically, it's a ice hockey team that is part of a small town, and they're about to shut down the factory, so the team's going under. This is probably going to be their last year. So Paul Newman is the coach slash player, which I didn't know was a thing, but I guess you could be the player and the coach. And he
maybe it's 70s and it's a movie, so who knows?
yeah, so he is trying to drive up interest to see if he can get another buyer for the team to save the team. And so they their owner or the manager, he hires these three, like, not teenagers, they're probably like in their early 20s with long hair and glasses, these brothers, the Hanson brothers, not the band, but and they turn out to be extremely violent and brutal on the ice. Like, they just crush people, and the crowd loves it. So they discover that, oh, the more violent we are, the more the crowd loves us. And the one guy on the team's like totally against that. Um, and so it's about is hockey a sport, or is it about being brutal? What is it? Um,
You know what's
so
interesting?
yeah.
There was an episode of Boston Legal that was
Hmm.
like that, where Alan Shore, which is oh my god, I can't think of his name with the Ultron, James Spader.
Yeah.
So James Spader plays Alan Shore, and he's apparently a big fan of hockey.
Hmm.
Um, but he takes on this case where they're trying to stop the brutality of hockey. They're like, well, we give them penalties, and it's like, oh yeah, like 12 minutes, that's nothing. You know, you do what you do on the ice in any other sport, that person gets arrested. You know, it's
It's true. Um, so let's say it's a 2-hour movie. I say like 40 minutes of the movie is actually on the ice, maybe 30. I enjoyed the ice hockey parts. I did not enjoy the rest of the movie.
oh
It was um, a lot about um, the effects of being, in hockey and these guys cheating on their wives and stuff and all this stuff and relationships and Paul Newman is hitting on everybody and it just and a lot of it's like it was like labeled as a raunchy comedy, but it was a lot of slurs and stuff and it's time of the 70s. It was a different time.
when does Keenan Thompson come out and do the knuckle puck?
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for. They like flying V and all that, but it just didn't happen. I almost feel like the Hanson brothers were inspiration for the Bash brothers.
Yeah, the Bash Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah. So, um, yeah. So it's an okay movie. I I really enjoyed the ice hockey parts. I just didn't. I would recommend if someone's going to watch this, just go on YouTube and just watch the ice hockey parts. uh, the I was reading some reviews of it, and most people are like me, kind of mixed. Like, yeah, it's all right. And it's supposed to come like a cult classic. And one guy goes, "It's the best sports movie of the last 50 years." And
What?
I was like, I agree. If I ignore Caddyshack and Sandlot and Happy Gilmore and Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, the Creed movies,
Remember the
and Remember
Titans,
the
the
Titans and the
Replacements.
Hoosiers and Rudy and several other movies I'm forgetting. If I ignore all those, then yes, this is the greatest sports movie of the last 50 years.
Oh, that
um,
is that is insane.
it was the craziest thing I'd seen. Now it was like it also makes a list of like Maxim's best guy movies, but it was like number 58 or something. I'm like, okay, I could see that, but not the greatest sports movie of the last 50 years.
It's like saying this is. Imagine there being like a a movie involving a sled and being like, "This is the greatest movie involving a sled of all time," and then it's like Citizen Kane's right there.
Yeah, it's like Christmas Vacation, not Christmas Vacation, but Christmas Vacation to Eddie's Adventure. I'm sure it has a sled in there somewhere. It's the best sled movie.
Right.
Yeah, it was bizarre. Uh,
Shoutouts to
uh,
the Bash Brothers. Shoutouts to Foggy Nelson.
yeah,
Uh,
the Hanson brothers did get action figures on the McFarlane Toys action figures. I remember they came out like
they have their own Wikipedia pages. Like each individual brother has their own. Oh no, I'm sorry. They have one single. They're the Hanson brothers have their own.
and they're
Uh,
not even in the movie that much. Like they're probably like a third of the film or something. But they're
ah,
the best part of the movie.
Boba Fett.
Yeah, and it's like if you focus more
Let's
on
see.
them, it would have been more fun. So yeah.
I'm surprised
Other
there's not like a. Because I mean, at this point, we how many Fonzie style spin-offs do we do at this point? Whenever I say Fonzie style, I mean like the Fonz was not the main character, but eventually he became the main character.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
there's two sequels to Slapshot, and the Hanson brothers come back for both of those. Are both direct to DVD. So
ah,
yeah. And one of the third one has Leslie Nielsen in it, which I don't know what
oh,
is going on there.
okay. And then we're gonna have a remake of Slapshot, and it's gonna have Liam Neeson in it.
And the Hanson brothers. Yes.
And then we're just gonna bring in Foggy Nelson, and we're gonna have the Bash Brothers in there too.
Yeah.
I kind of want this movie now.
Yeah. Other than that, Friday I was going to watch a Superman animated movie. I don't remember which one it was. It had Lobo in it. I don't know.
Man of Tomorrow.
Yes. And then my youngest like, oh, I want to watch that, but not tonight. I was like, okay. So my family loves doing that to me. So I put on Creature Commandos,
Okay.
and I loved it.
All
I
right,
watched the
yeah.
whole thing in like a day and a half. I was like, it was a lot of fun.
It's fantastic. Like,
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is like on my best of the year list now. This was
you know,
great.
you know what we need to do? Oh, yeah, hold on. So I'm gonna, because we need to start putting together the last half of the year. I think what we need to do, we need to be really good about we need to be really good about keeping up with the DC universe, so that way, we're always on top of it.
Hmm.
Like I think that'd be really cool to just like we're at this point we're never gonna like be on top of Marvel. Plus, like, who cares?
Yeah.
But like if we could stay on top of DC, I think that'd be pretty dope.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I downloaded the soundtrack, or a bunch of the songs from the soundtrack, and yeah, and it just made me look forward to Superman even more. Even though there's a lot of shenanigans going on with that Superman movie, tracking all of a sudden dropped. I think there's a lot of people trying to sabotage the movie. The Zack Snyder fans are crazy.
Yes, they are.
There's a whole subreddit where they're like, post spoilers everywhere and bomb the reviews and book all the tickets and then don't go, and all this weird stuff that they're out there trying to kill the movie and all this, and I'm just like, guys, chill.
It's what's the weird thing about book all the tickets and don't go?
Well, I mean, it was have it like in your cart so other people can't buy it.
Oh, okay. Because that was
Yeah.
my thing. I'm like, so you're still buying them, and
No, 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 no.
like at this point, here's the thing. At this point, I think we can agree that people don't care about quality of film anymore. It's just how many people have bought tickets.
It's so crazy. I don't know. So
It's I think that unfortunately Warner Brothers was desperate. They still are desperate, but they were desperate for something.
mm,
And so I'm trying to think of the best way to say this. The worst thing to do to a pest is to give them what they want.
oh yeah, giving them the director's cut or whatever. Yeah.
Releasing the Snyder Cut was a mistake.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, the other thing is, I understand how people are so confused about the continuity, what is canon and not, after watching that anime series, because they're referencing the Suicide Squad movie. And I'm like, okay, well then, if that's canon and this is canon, that it was a
So, from what I can tell,
bad wormhole or precedent
yeah.
to set.
Okay, so it's weird because with the way they're doing continuity in this new DC universe, it's actually the perfect adaptation of the New 52 because their thing about continuity whenever they released the New 52 was it's canon until it's contradicted.
Yeah, it feels like it's I mean, DC's known for this. Their reboots and saying, "Oh, well, this this is canon, and this, well, we don't know. Maybe it is, maybe
Yeah.
it isn't." And
So
and
if you think about
it's
it,
par for the course, you know.
you know what? I'll give it to him. It is a faithful adaptation of comic
It
books.
certainly is.
But the way I'm looking at it right now is anything that James Gunn did, it's canon. That's the way I see it.
And
Um,
the thing is, I mean, it's really the people that pay attention are the ones it bugs. The main audience doesn't care. They're still waiting for Iron Man to show up in the Superman movie.
yeah.
So, you know,
Um, yeah.
it's just a thing. So, um,
The
so
only one
yeah,
that
the go ahead.
I was about to say the only one that confuses me is Blue Beetle because James Gunn has gone back and forth saying that one is canon, that one isn't canon. So I don't know. I still,
Yeah,
I still haven't watched Blue Beetle.
I think the kid from Cobra Kai is a great actor. So I think if you're looking for a new young actor to start building up, I think that is smart to keep him around.
Yeah. I mean,
So
and what you can do is you could like if you could really one up Marvel because let's be honest, Marvel kind of fumbled Spider-Man with their trilogy. Homecoming is okay. I hate Far From Home. No Way Home actually gets worse every time I watch it. um and it was never consistent. You could have made Spider-Man like, your next generation center of the universe. You could do that with Blue Beetle, like with Jolo as Blue Beetle, and
yeah,
you could totally one up them.
I like No Way Home. I think the first third of the movie is very rushed to get to the other stuff.
Yeah, well, so I've even talked to my dad about this because my dad agrees with me, and he's like, "Yeah, it's one of those things where like in the movie theater, it was a spectacle, and now that spectacle's gone."
Yeah,
So
yeah. So the DC future is, it's questionable. Where everybody's kind of holding their breath to see if Superman performs well. There's a lot of movies in the hopper, and one of those is Constantine 2. So we're gonna check out Constantine 1 right now. See how I
yep,
did that? That nice little
I know.
segue.
Segue.
So good. Segue.
We're getting
Uh,
good at this.
so I never,
Couple years
I,
in, couple years in, we're
I
getting good at this.
I had never seen Constantine, so I think we'll do what we usually do, like a non-spoiler quick chat, and then we'll get into spoilers. So Constantine is based on the long-running Vertigo DC comic book Hellblazer, starring John Constantine
Uh, uh, uh. John
and
Constantine.
Constantine. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
No,
Um,
no, it's only the movie and the TV show and the animated movies that get it wrong. But there's actually I can't remember which issue it is of Hellblazer. Um, uh, but someone says Constantine, and they they have to spell it out because someone says Constantine, and he's like Tyne. They're like, what? You said Constantine rhymes with bean. My name's Constantine rhymes with wine. Like they have a whole thing dedicated to that, and
well,
no one has ever gotten it right.
I'll just let you know I'm gonna slip up and call him Constantine probably the rest of the
No, no,
episode.
here's the thing. Out of defiance, I am also calling him Constantine because
Okay.
that's the name of the movie.
Just want to make sure you were going to correct me for the
No,
next
no, no,
conversation.
no, no. I'm just saying. You said the Hellblazer comics starring John Constantine. I'm like, no, the Hellblazer comics are starring John Constantine.
Yeah. He's a bit of a rough around the edges. Like, I don't know if you call him a detective. Would you call him a detective?
Uh
He deals with the occult and things that go
yeah.
bump in the night and the weird stuff and kind of vanquishing it or dealing with it or that sort of thing. So the movie deals with a case of a police officer whose twin sister has taken her own life, and uh,
Hilarious.
well, I'm laughing because I have to dance around the stupid YouTube rules. So I'm trying to think of the
Yeah.
right words to
Yeah.
use.
Yeah, this one is definitely like we're gonna have to tiptoe around this movie a lot, actually, now that
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
about
because
it.
that is a main plot point. Uh, but they think it's more than that. The cop. What was the cop's name? That'll help me.
Uh,
Isabel's one of them, but I think that's the one that died. It's not
Isabel's the one that died. Angela's the
okay.
detective.
So Angela, like Angel. Okay, Angela um, thinks there's something supernatural going on here, and her path keeps crossing with Constantine. Her path keeps crossing with Constantine, and then he starts to believe her, and then supernatural shenanigans occur. I think that's the best way to say,
Mhm.
non spoilery, what happens here.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Um, I think this is a solid, pretty good movie. I wouldn't say it's like a great movie, but I thought it was pretty good. Um, I don't know if I buy Keanu Reeves as John Constantine from what I see in the comic book version, where he's British
Mhm.
and I don't know if he was rough and gruff enough for me, if that makes sense.
No, I definitely agree. So I do love this movie, but it has more to do with I just love this style of film. Um, so there's the style of film called edge kino, and that is what this movie is. Um, and so it's just a style of film that I'm a fan of. Other films can like Dark City, The Crow, The One, Ben Affleck's Daredevil, pretty much all the way up until uh, Edge Kino goes basically from The Crow to Carl Urban's Dread.
Mm.
And so this is kind of in that. So this is definitely a. Uh, there's this meme going around that's like we don't have writing, we have aura and hype moments. And so that's where I'm at. This is pure aura, and I really do like that. Uh, this is not John Constantine. Um, in fact, there's one book, and I can't. So I'm about to like. This movie's complicated because this movie takes place in the canon of the Hellblazer comics whenever it comes out. Did you know that?
No, but that sounds like something a Vertigo comic book would do.
So John Constantine is a different person than John Constantine.
Gotcha.
And so it's really funny. So yes, so technically, this is a different character. That's not an excuse. That's just a fun fact that I think is really funny and stupid.
It sounds like there's a movie called The Adventures of Remo Williams. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No, I
Starring
haven't.
Fred Ward, who was in the Tremors movies.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
they were based on a series of books called the Destroyer novels, and the Destroyer novels are really popular, or they were. And when Remo Williams came out, I like the movie, but it's a goofy '80s movie, about a guy who kind of becomes a secret agent, has uh, like a Miyagi type sensei that teaches him all this stuff. Um, and the movie kind of bombed. Well, the books make fun of the movie all the time. Like the movie happened in the book universe, and they constantly rag on it. So I think it's a similar thing here.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
So
But yeah, it, this is one of those movies that like I admit that it's kind of a mid movie, but at the same time, it's also just so much my bag that I can't help but love it. If that makes sense. Just like like this is the type of, like, my dad. This is the type of movie my dad raised me to love, which is a comic book movie, but also supernatural horror. So this is a movie that, like, I was raised to love. um, and I love the supporting cast quite a bit, actually. I Rachel Wise. I love seeing her in things. Um, Apparently this is a hot take. Maybe it's because, like, I grew up with him, and, like, you know, I don't know. I've always liked Shia LaBeouf, like,
I do too.
all the way,
I
like, and here's, I think, I mean, at least from all the little shorts, TikToks, and whatnot that I've seen, he seems like he's in a better place now, which, great for him. Um, but I don't know, like, I grew up on Even Stevens. I was the kid in the movie theater watching Transformers. I watched Eagle Eye and Disturbia growing up. Like there was a point where Shia LaBeouf was kind of like the new hot stuff in
yeah, they were
movies.
really pushing him for a while there. The
Uh,
Transformer movies and stuff until he kind of had his breakdown or whatever happened.
yeah. Um, and but yeah, I mean, like, I love his Chaz Kramer. Which, fun fact, Chaz Kramer is not a kid in the comic books, which is funny. Um, but I love him as Chaz Kramer. And we'll get into it when we get into spoilers. But his introduction in the taxi, I've always thought was really funny.
So I was just pulling up the guy who played the father, the priest in this movie. So like this guy looks familiar. He's in the Superman movie coming out playing Paul Kent.
Father Hennessy.
I just saw his name. Hold on.
Yeah, yeah. Father Hennessy, Pruitt. Pruitt
Yeah,
Taylor Vince.
yeah,
Real okay, that's fun.
yeah. I had no idea. Okay. Anyhow, um, so yeah,
Dude, dude, their multiverse saga is gonna go hard. You're gonna have Father Hennessy meeting John Kent.
yeah, yeah. They do a Superman movie where John Constantine shows up and he's like the spirits are guiding him and he's like that spirit looks just like my dad. They have like their Martha moment where
Why did you say that name?
yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, so I'd give this movie like a 7 out of 10.
I
I
think that's
say
fair. I think
yeah.
that's fair.
Uh,
If you're like me, and most people are not like me, I tend to have I have an odd taste in films. Like, I won't necessarily say it's bad, but I have an odd taste in films. So if you're like me, I give this one like an 8, 8.5.
okay. Also, you probably saw this closer to when it came out, or maybe
Yeah.
not. But yeah. So for me, this is new, and I'm comparing it to things I've seen recently, and so and some special
Yeah.
effects haven't aged super great.
Yeah.
So
Definitely, definitely. No,
but I
and
can
it's
forgive that for the time it came out and all that.
yeah,
So
it's definitely one of those things where, like, I go back and I watch these because I haven't seen this movie in probably about 10, 15 years. Um, where well, okay, that's not true. I've seen it more recently, and then we decided to review it, so then I watched it again. But up until more recently, when I watched it, I hadn't seen it in about 15 years. Um, I just kind of miss this era of comic book movies. um, which I know is very odd, but, like, I don't know, just the era of the Raimi Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, Nicolas Cage's Ghost Rider, Batman Begins, this, like, all that whole
it's
era.
kind of pre-Marvel formula where they
Yeah,
haven't quite figured it out, and so they're kind of more doing their own thing.
yeah, and I guess I kind of miss that because, like, it's they figure it out, and then, man, what else? Like, I kind of like the.
Because this movie's not really quippy or anything.
No, no.
Yeah.
Which is funny because at the time, John Constantine was not quippy, However, he would eventually become quippy.
Yeah.
um,
So would you say this is the greatest superhero film in the last 50 years?
no, and I wouldn't even say this is the best adaptation of Hellblazer in the last 50 years. Um,
All right, let's get the
yeah,
spoilers. I'm gonna go ahead and
yeah,
throw up the spoiler warning so we can
yeah,
talk more freely about this
sure,
now.
sure.
I think
Uh,
we've said enough. If you know, go check it out if you haven't seen it. I think it's a fun
yeah,
watch. Out, like I said, it's not a masterpiece or anything.
yeah.
All right.
You know what? That does remind me. Did we reviewed Justice League Dark, right? Or at least had you watch it?
Yeah, I think I fell asleep during it. Remember?
Okay, okay.
So,
So
but let's get to the spoilery review. This movie does deal with some fun concepts. Uh, a lot of it is based in the Catholic faith, which neither of us are Catholic. We are Christian, but we are not Catholic, so our beliefs don't quite line up.
yeah,
But
I
one
I
of
am
their yeah, go ahead.
I am so I'm kind of familiar with like the. I'm just gonna say this because I don't know how else. I'm familiar with like the Catholic lore, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Um, but only on a video gamey superficial level.
yeah, I think that's safe to say for both of us. The one of the big plot points of the film is unaliving yourself, and that being a way to that will keep you out of heaven. I think
Yeah.
is whereas we would say that the Christian faith is if you are a Christian, all sins are forgiven, even
hmm
that one. So
Yeah. Now that's not to say that self expiration. This is so weird having to say stuff like
I
this.
know it's so
Okay.
YouTube,
So
get it together.
yes. So let me do a brief rant. I'm not going to say it. However, the fact that we can't say it annoys me because I feel like it does lose its gravity, if that makes sense. Um,
Yes,
I think saying it is important, but
I do
unfortunately, we're
too.
not allowed to. But anyway, I say all that to say self expiration is never the way. um,
No, I agree
yeah,
100%.
yeah. So just because we don't hold up the same um, eternal beliefs as the Catholic Church does not mean that you should consider that as a viable option because it is not.
Right. So a lot of this centers around Isabel, the sister who took her life. That was she forced to do it? Was she possessed? And we come to find out that, like John Constantine, she has had visions her whole life. She has been able to see things that normal people cannot see.
hmm
And eventually, find out Angela is the same way. Um, So a lot of this is what is going on here? What is the bigger? There's a bigger mystery going on. Uh,
And
you know,
we also open up with I mean, in a weird way, this is almost kind of like a horror Indiana Jones movie as well.
yeah,
Because we open up with a scavenger who finds a spear, uh, or like the tip of a spear that we would eventually find out this is the spear that pierced Jesus Christ up on the cross, which I don't remember. Do they ever call it? Because like there's like an actual like pop culture
Y-
name for it. It's the Spear of Destiny.
yeah. They no, they do call it that. I think it's even the opening subtitle, like the
Okay.
I think text across the screen tells us right at the
Okay.
beginning of the movie that this was a lost artifact, and yeah, so it does call it the Spear of Destiny.
Okay.
The Spear of Destiny is a little cliche in stories. It does get used quite a bit, but I
hmm
think it works in this world.
hmm
Um, so we find out that also that this is the world of angels and demons, but it's not. He calls them half breeds. That it's not. It's like the ones that have been kind of kicked out, or they're the ones that are trapped here on Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So, and one that we keep seeing is Tilda Swinton's character Gabriel, who I think is an actual angel, but is just coming to Earth to kind of just pester John.
Gabriel is Gabriel just kind of like hates humanity and like wants to free the Antichrist to unleash hell on Earth.
Well, it's Mammon, the son of the devil. And
Right,
they've
right.
it kind of reminds me a little bit of the plot of Dogma. They're trying a loophole to unleash Mammon.
Yeah, it is kind of like Dogma. Now that you mentioned
Yeah, it's a very similar plot to Dogma. So,
You know, we just need to. Oh man, we should have reviewed Dogma, Good Omens, and Constantine.
yeah, just all in one show. Um, uh, I did think this movie was kind of fun, setting up the supporting cast for John Constantine, and there's like 4 of them, but out of the 4, 3 of them get killed.
Yeah,
It's like, well, okay, you're
I
just
mean,
killing off his whole supporting cast, which was an interesting choice, but
that is kind of par for the course for Hellblazer.
yeah.
Like, like in a way, this isn't an exact comparison, but in a way, John is kind of like DC's Daredevil in the fact that he's got like this constant Catholic guilt, and he can never be happy, and then like people around him are always dying. For John, it's a little more supernatural. With the Matt, it's more just dumb luck.
Yeah, so one of the subplots here is John is dying from cancer. His
Mm-hmm.
lungs are ate up, and his time is running out, and he knows that he also cannot go to heaven because he also attempted to unalive himself but survived.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, um, Gabriel's kind of taunting him, like, "What are you trying to do? Earn all these brownie points to get into heaven? It doesn't work that way. It's a faith thing, a sacrifice thing. You're not getting into heaven." And so that is also going on throughout the film. So there was part of me was like, is he gonna die by the end? But instead, no, it's just everybody else is going to die.
Yeah.
He'll be fine. Um, and I actually accidentally kind of saw a spoiler while I was watching the movie about, and I just saw Chaz and Constantine gravesite. I was like, oh, Chaz is at Constantine's grave. My brain flipped it.
Oh, gotcha.
So, um, my brain does that sometimes when I read stuff too fast, and I'm like, oh, okay. But anyhow, but yeah, a lot of the concepts in this I thought were very solid, and a lot of it stuff I actually believe about how possessions work and demons and all that. So, I think parts of the Catholic faith and Christian faith, it was very faithful towards those
Mm-hmm.
concepts. So
Yeah, definitely. And there is one thing that I did kind of miss, but it wouldn't necessarily have worked in this film. So in the comic books, John is dying of lung cancer, um, and so the only thing keeping him alive is the fact that he's constantly making deals with demons and then swindling them out of the deals.
yeah.
So like without his swindling, uh, he would have died by now.
Right. We get a little bit of that, but yeah, not to that effect. There's a scene towards the end where he has a confrontation with Satan, where he's kind of wheeling and dealing with him a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought that scene was interesting, where at the end, um, Constantine is finally going to get to go to heaven, and Satan's like, no. I
Yeah,
don't think so. It
yeah,
pulls him back and pulls the cancer out of him, so he'll live longer. And it's like, no, you're gonna screw this up. I'm gonna leave you here
yeah.
longer.
No, it's great.
And that's a very Constantine thing to happen, and not
Yes.
allowed to have happiness. So I thought that was
um
very true to the
and
mythos.
this is so here's the thing, when it comes to stuff like this, I'd say I'm an odd one, because I as a pastor's kid, um I appreciate good adaptations of Satan.
Sure,
If that
yeah,
makes sense, like I just find it fascinating. Um and so like this one like is kind of up there with some of my. That's right. Yeah, the pastor's kid has like a list of his favorite adaptations of Lucifer in media.
yeah.
But this one's up there.
So I read some different things. I've talked to some different people about why are Christians so fascinated with these types of movies. Because it's kind of the forbidden, this is the thing
Yeah,
we're not supposed to be watching or talking about.
I could see that.
And a lot of times, good movies about the devil, it's a or possession are story of good versus evil, and there's rules where at the end God still succeeds, even though we're dealing with this evil concept. And bad movies about possession, and it's just when they ignore that. When there was one that I was watching on Riff Tracks once, and it was terrible. Like, um, it was like all these people trapped in a hotel, and the devil was tempting them, but the temptations didn't make sense. The rules didn't make sense. Like the devil
Which
goes, I think it was called Stitches, is what it was called.
Stitches? Okay.
But like the devil, it was like an old lady that was really secretly the devil, and she's like, "You want to see a demon, or you're curious about demons? You want to see one?" And then it was like, "Oh, I got him. He's possessed now." And it was like, "That's not how this works. He didn't make a deal with the devil. Like nothing made sense."
Hmm.
And like, uh, it was just really badly written. So I think these movies where there's rules and it's very clear good versus evil, and these types of concepts, they work. It's when the movie's just all over the place that it doesn't. Kind of like my rambling right now is all over the
Yeah.
place. That's not good. But
Whenever I'm trying to see now, I'm trying to figure out which movie this is, because so I look up Stitches, and Stitches is about a clown. You said
I'll shoot you the link.
it takes place in a in a hotel. Is it an elevator? Is it Devil?
No, it's called Stitches. I
Oh,
mean,
oh, okay.
it's called Stitches.
Okay. Well, I was about to be very sad because Devil is another one of my favorite adaptations of.
No, this is not. This is not. I know what movie you're talking about. That's not this. This is
Mm,
an awful film. I put it in the private chat. Um, it's so bad. Anyhow,
interesting.
so back to Constantine. We also got a Papa Midnight in this movie, and I,
Yeah.
I think I only became aware of this character because he was on the Batman cartoon recently, right? The one
Yes,
we
he
were
was.
watching.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's where I first became aware of this character. So that was cool that was there.
I also love that it's who I don't know.
Who?
I don't know.
Or
I think
Professor Sewer from Guardians of the Galaxy.
yeah. I think it's pronounced Jamon Yonsu or something like that.
Yeah.
But no, I love this guy in pretty much everything I see him in. He's just got like this nice presence, and so I don't think we need to recast a Papa Midnight. I think we just keep him around, and he's
Oh
great.
yeah, sure. Um, yeah, so I don't know if I have a whole lot else to say about the movie. Oh, there's our buddy Chaz. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, I did, see, oh, this is a character from the comic books. I'm not terribly familiar with the comic books other than I think John Constantine appeared in Swamp Thing quite a bit, I want to say.
his first appearance was in Swamp Thing, actually.
Yeah, so I probably read those because I've read all the Alan Moore Swamp Things. It's been so long ago though since I've read those. So that's probably where I'm most familiar with him. Um, So yeah, Chaz. I didn't quite get this character. I mean, I know he was kind of like a protege, but I didn't know if he just wanted to be John Constantine or what their connection was. It wasn't super clear.
Yeah, and technically speaking, it wasn't necessarily clear to me either, because, like I said, Chaz isn't even a kid in the comics. It's just one of those where, like, yeah, I like him. He's cool. I like uh, I like Shia LaBeouf. Um, and like I said, I'll go ahead and talk about his intro where he's like, "Hey Chaz, move the car," and then he moves the car like a foot.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, the mirror possession scene was really cool.
oh man,
Um,
that's what a way to open a movie. I thought it's so cool.
yeah, yeah. Um, we also had Rachel Weisz in the
Yep.
movie, and she's fine.
Hmm.
I don't have a whole lot to say about her character.
No, she was one of those that was also kind of like, I think around this time, actually, she was kind. I'm not gonna say she's on her way out because that sounds pretty harsh, but like there was definitely a time where Rachel Wise was everywhere. The
Yeah, the
Mummy.
Mummy movies were huge, but I also think she was trying to distance herself from those. And she was in Black Widow, right?
She was, and
Yeah, yeah.
quite
So she's still doing stuff. So
quite a horrible movie that is.
yeah, yeah. Um, another thing about this movie, there's a lot of it feels like one of those movies where you don't understand the rules of this universe. Like they're doing all these ceremonies and rituals and stuff where like, okay, put your feet in water, do this, do that, and you're just kind of
Mhm.
like along for the ride. You don't quite understand the spells and stuff
Yeah.
they're doing.
But it is one of those things that it's almost kind of like my X Files or my Men in Black, if that makes sense. Because a lot of these, like I said, when it comes to horror and occult and all this stuff, and maybe it is because it's technically taboo, and I like making people uncomfortable with my knowledge of it. But it's were you an X Files person? Did you like X Files?
I watched X Files all the time. I couldn't tell you anything about it. It's like all seeped out of my.
Oh, okay.
It is just gone.
So, from what I can tell, and I've watched a little bit of the X Files, it's never necessarily grabbed me, and I think it's because of this reason. X Files and Men in Black. I know Men in Black does this as well, where all of their plot points and all of their things are like inspired by like actual urban legends and whatnot.
Hmm.
Um, and so for me, I know quite a bit about like supernatural urban legends. In fact, Cameron and I are watching through Supernatural right now, and we're keeping a tally of everything that we catch. That we're like, oh, we know about that. Oh, that we know about that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
And so, with Constantine and even watching Supernatural, it's kind of like a lot of people who watch X Files know a lot about like those sci-fi UFO urban legends, and I don't know much about those myself.
Sure.
I don't know much about aliens,
Yeah.
um,
I
but
I I think a movie like came back to what I was saying earlier. Doctor Strange is more handholdy with all this, like explain how everything works, and this movie just goes, "Oh, we're gonna do this thing, and we're not gonna
yeah,
tell you how it works. Just watch."
yeah.
And
Uh,
yeah, so I think if they made this now, it'd be more handholdy than this is.
it's kind of, well, and the thing is you say that, but the interesting thing is, um, the NBC show that came out that was technically in the Arrowverse.
Hmm.
Um, the first episode was handholdy because it had a point of view character that wasn't John, and they get rid of her after that first episode, and they replace her with a different person who's just as like knowledgeable as John, and then
Yeah.
it becomes less handholdy.
And I think that's okay. I think that works
Yeah.
fine. I don't
Oh
need
yeah.
to understand why he needs to be holding his cat when he puts his feet in water to go to hell. I don't. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the thing. Going all the way back to what I've been doing, writing D&D. Sometimes things are just flavor text. You know,
Yeah.
it's flavor text because you remember it. He didn't have to hold his cat, step in water. He could have just had a little ring he did like the circle motion and made a portal to hell. But no, because that's boring. I'm gonna hold a cat while I step in water. You remember that, and it's just flavor text, and it's a lot of fun.
I watch or listen to Creepcast quite a bit with Wendigoon and
Hmm.
Hunter. I can't think of his other name. Anyhow, Meat Canyon, and they they listen to a bunch of different stories they find online, and they've been saying if you get to a page when you're writing a story and it's just a page of explanations about how everything works, they said just delete that. The reader
Yeah,
doesn't need to know. It'll make your story better. Let them fill in the blanks on their own. Don't spoon feed them everything. Let them imagine how it works, and it'll make your story better.
yeah, definitely. I mean, think about this. Would Five Nights at Freddy's be as successful as it is if there was no reason for Matt Pat or John FNAF to do what they did for years?
No, I mean that is why it
Yeah,
was successful. It would have, well, I mean, Markiplier made it famous because of the jump scares and reactions and stuff. But
it
it,
wouldn't have
it
had the staying power.
no, exactly, yeah. The mystery keeps people around and
Hmm.
still keeps them around. I don't know if it's as big as it was, but the new game just came out. And people are still talking about it. So
Yeah.
this we do get a lot of terrifying glimpses of hell in this movie. I think those were all
Hmm.
well done,
Yeah.
pretty interesting.
No, that's. I'm so, let me I need to say this before I say another thing. I am very powerful in my faith. I'm doing okay, mom. Uh but another thing that I've been fascinated in is depictions of what hell looks like too. I just watched Event Horizon for the first time in like 10 years.
Event Horizon, yeah.
um and so yeah, I agree. It was I thought it was a very interesting in Constantine. It was a very interesting depiction. It actually it's kind of funny. It almost kind of reminded me of like the intro to Batman Begins. And by the intro, I legit just mean the title card, where like it's all like brown and orange, and then there's like bats flapping around,
Yeah.
and so that's the vibe I got from it.
The
Uh,
thing about Event Horizon is we got the tamed down version. The original version
I
was much more
know,
graphic.
I know, and oh man, so the funniest thing is I've actually shown some friends Event Horizon for the first time recently
Yeah.
because they're trying to get me into Warhammer.
Mhm.
And apparently there's this like crackpot theory that Event Horizon is like a pseudo prequel to Warhammer because in Warhammer they have the hyperspace thing like Star Wars does, but they go into a portal and they have to like wade through hell to get to the other side.
Oh yeah, that's Event Horizon. Yeah.
um, and so I'm like, okay, well, you tell me about Warhammer. I'm going to show you this movie, and you're not allowed to hate me after.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, like I said, guys, I'm doing fine. These are completely normal fascinations that I have.
Yeah. And Tilda Swinton's character, her hatred towards the humans and stuff. I mean, a lot of that's biblical, where the angels hated the
Yeah,
humans and stuff. And so, like I said, a lot of this concepts and stuff in this are, based on a lot of things that a lot of us believe. So
yeah, yeah. It's one of those things where it's like you don't necessarily have to change things to make them interesting because like it's already interesting.
yeah,
We don't have to make it to where like like that what was that movie? I don't know. I can't think of what the movie is, but like Legion, I think is the name of the movie, not the
TV show.
not the TV show, but there was a movie called Legion where
Hmm.
like it was like angels who were like just coming down, killing everybody, trying to uh um start the end of the world. Uh and like there was someone who's I don't exactly remember it. I just remember not necessarily liking it because I'm like, you didn't have to like come up with your own thing. Like it's already just as interesting off the page.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Anything else we want to add? I think we've covered pretty much all the characters,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
that scene where he needed a drink was tragic.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
uh,
no, no. That's the thing, man. Like this, I think if we could get like Drew Goddard on the HBO Max train, we could get like Daredevil season 1, but for Hellblazer, and it'd be amazing.
yeah, yeah, I could
Like,
see that.
like every episode is just heartbreaking, and
Yeah, I so I'm excited that they're doing a second one, but again, I just don't know John if Keanu Reeves is John Constantine. I don't know.
yeah. Well, and so, and I love what's his name? I think his name is Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's the guy who would go on to play him in the NBC show and the rest of
Mhm.
the Arrowverse. He's fine as well. I like him all well and good, but that is by the time we get to that, John is very quippy. I need someone miserable.
Yeah, yeah. He just wasn't. I don't know. I just never bought that he was dying or anything in this movie either. It just. So
Do you know who the look of John Constantine is actually based off of?
I'm sure I've known this at one point, but I have now
Uh,
forgotten.
James Dean.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we can find our modern day James Dean, maybe he could do it.
Who's the guy that's kind of like the new Glenn? What's his name? Powell.
Glenn Powell.
Yeah, maybe he's your Constantine.
He's my Constantine if I want him to be quippy.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, do you fix the script? Like, can
Yeah,
he do a British accent?
maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I still want him as Booster Gold though. I think he'd be a great Booster Gold.
Yeah, yeah. So that was our look at Constantine. Who knows? Um, we are continuing our Keanu Reeves month next week, looking at Scanner Darkly. I have tried to talk Caleb about this movie several times. He keeps shooting me down, so we're doing it.
Well, I think you're just trying to because you read the book and couldn't finish it.
Yeah, I was trying to read the book. It was a Philip K. Dick book, and I got like 80 pages in. And I just got to the point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I just read what happened on Wikipedia, and I was like, okay. And
I don't.
it just wasn't what I was expecting.
I'm interested in it because, like, from what I can tell, isn't this an animated movie?
It's that weird style where it's like I don't know if it's not really rotoscoping, but very similar. Where yeah, they're kind of
Mm.
animating the live action.
Yeah, I mean,
And since this is a
I,
movie about drug use, that kind of makes sense to do it weird like that.
I mean that's the thing, man. You're like, let's watch Bill and Ted, and I'm like, dog, like I've seen, I want to see something I've never seen before, and I've never seen anything like this.
Yeah. So if it's terrible next week, you can blame Caleb.
I will take it. I will take it. And
All right.
yeah.
So that's our plan, and then in July we're gonna do the first half of the month talking Superman. Second half of the month talking not the Fantastic Four, but talking Silver Surfer.
hmm
So be a lot of fun. We got a lot of cool stuff planned for that. Talk about All Star Superman. We'll probably talk about Superman Year One, some other books,
Yeah, definitely.
and Marvel's currently doing a Death of the Silver Surfer story, but we're going to read two other stories. Um, they've kind of done the Death of Silver Surfer a couple of times, so we're going to look at some of those.
Yeah. By the way, I just thought of who the live action Constantine should be.
Okay.
Well, one of two people. They're both from Midnight Mass. One of them is the guy who played Riley. The other one, he played Father Paul. Also played Batman in Cape Crusader. Hamish Linklater. I think he can pull off Misery really well.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, he would be. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, that just popped in my head.
Yeah.
Because I looked over and so Cameron and I, we both really love Midnight Mass. We actually have a poster of Midnight Mass in our in our place, and so I just looked over and I'm like, oh my gosh, Hamish Linklater would be the guy.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the star power of Keanu Reeves, so we're
That
getting
is
Keanu
correct.
Reeves again.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that is our show. Check out Scanner Darkly this week. If you like this mess, hit the like button, share it out there, tell your friends, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, all that good stuff that feeds the
Yeah.
ever hungry YouTube algorithm.
And I swear, guys, I'm fine.
He's fine. I promise. Yes, he plays D&D. It's okay. It's all right. It's not the 80s anymore. It's okay to play D&D now. It's okay. I promise. All right. Until next time, I've been Final Monkey.
And I'm Caleb.
We'll catch you in the deep end.
See ya.